Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. This is part 90, and if my calculations are correct, this should go live on December 31st, 2023. And that's a very special day for me. Not only is it New Year's, but today it marks the 7th anniversary of me being Zephyr the Jester. Now, my YouTube channel is a bit younger. I got my start on Tumblr, but yeah, my online handle has turned 7 years old. Wow, another year's gone by. Good times. Like, if you've been here watching my stuff for even a tiny portion of that, thank you. You're the best. So, anyway, on to business. Previously, we left off having to still get through this pressing of these witnesses, and indeed we got some evidence we need to have a look at. So, it's a sterile pocket watch which was extremely near and dear to Gregson, but it broke. So let's have a close look at it. The glass over the face really is badly cracked, look.
What a shame when the inspector clearly looked after it so carefully.
I imagine Mr. Sholmes could repair it, don't you?
Yes, I should think so.
He's very adept at things like this. Useful man to have around, in fact.
But kindly remember that he's a great detective, Mr. Naruhodo, not an odd-job man.
Looks like the... Yeah, I didn't catch this previously. Looks like the very top of it is broken. There's a tiny little stub sticking out from this small hole here, look.
I suppose there must have been a little knob or something on that for setting the time.
In that case, seeing as we know the inspector took such good care of this watch, it probably broke when the incident occurred, didn't it?
Yes, of course.
Which could mean that there's a small part of the watch still at the scene, maybe. Whoa. That's a thought. Ah, there's a tiny little keyhole here. Can you see?
Oh, yes, that's probably for the winder used to wind up the mechanism.
It looks a little unusual, don't you think?
Yes, you'd need just the right key to wind it, I imagine.
Why do I feel as though I've seen something? Something a bit like a key that's about the right size to fit in this hole.
It would be wonderful if we had the key. Let's check carefully over what we've already found.
Yeah, I was gonna go back and look at it just in case. Where is it? Oh, right, first page. Here. Twist the head.
The helmet of this charming policeman appears to be a little worse for wear.
I'm not convinced about the charming part, but yes, you're right. The head part looks like it's been fairly heavily manhandled. Almost as if somebody has enjoyed twisting it around and around for fun. Shall we try twisting it around and around too, for fun? Aha! Ah, what's that?
It appears to be some sort of key.
But it's tiny though. It couldn't be a key for a door. Not at that size. So what is it for, I wonder? Well, yeah, the shape definitely matches up. Mr. Sato, do you think perhaps this key could be the key for Inspector Gregson's watch?
Oh, yes, it could be. Let's try it at once. There's not a moment to lose.
Oh, it started working again. I knew it, a perfect fit.
And look, the inspector's watch has started going again.
That means... that... Oh, yo. This must mean that the watch, despite the glass being visibly broken, the internal mechanisms aren't broken at all. No, they work just fine, perfectly. And because... And if that's the case, then the only reason the watch stopped was because, well, the mechanism ran out of juice. It just wasn't wound around in enough time. And because Gregson cared for the watch daily and obsessed over it, he'd never let it happen. So I think this might be great evidence for my theory that Gregson was killed quite a few days earlier. Maybe. I still think it's really weird that the autopsy report didn't have the time of death on it at all. Ah, so it has obviously just not been wound up, that's all. What is it, Miss Susato?
Well, if the watch wasn't actually broken after all, I have a feeling it could have profound implications.
She's deep in thought now. Perhaps I'd better start thinking deeply too. Ah. He wound it without fail every single day, and nevertheless, he missed a day or more. Yeah, what was the watch stuck at? 5? Well, if the watch just went and wore itself out, there's no telling when the killing could have happened, I'm not sure. Still could be 5 a.m. and not 5 p.m., which is where the body was found. Anyway.
I don't know anything about anything. I'm just a bystander, me. Just a sign of the crossroads of life.
Hold it!
But you did go to see what had happened in the room, didn't you?
Fresno Street is my whole world. It's all I know, and I know all of it. I have to make it my business to know if I want to hold my sign up high.
So you did go to see what had happened.
It's not the destination that's important, it's how you get there, isn't it?
Did you notice the notice board in the room?
If you think about it, we're both the same species, aren't we? Both different members of the sign family. So if I'd spotted it, I might have tried to strip it up out of the sense of rivalry, I admit.
Someone really needs to tell you that you're Homo sapiens, not Homo sinians. That was bad. Does that mean that you didn't notice the board?
I can only repeat what I said before. I don't know anything about anything. I'm just a bystander, me. Just a sign at the crossroads of life.
In which case, just who was responsible for moving the notice board?
It was the Reaper, I bet. He's got a face that screams bored.
Hold it!
What exactly do you mean by that? Oh, come on now, don't tell us you've not noticed. He looks like he hates everything in the world, that fella. But not notice boards. They're the one thing he likes. You can see it in his eyes. I can't say I've never noticed. I'll tell you one thing for free, though. I never took my eyes off that man on the floor, or off the Reaper, not for a second.
Sorry?
Well, I was that scared I couldn't. You never know what a fiend like that might do if you look away, do ya?
If you didn't take your eyes off the defendant, you should be able to confirm categorically whether or not he was the one who moved the notice board.
Aye, that I can. The Reaper did nothing of the sort, I can swear to that. I couldn't have missed it if he'd heaved the thing upright again and dragged it into the corner.
Right, glad we've cleared that up. What happened to the face that screams bored?
I feel your pain, Kazuma. I can't see how this changes anything anyway. The detective still died when we heard the gunshot.
Hold it!
It was 5 o'clock in the afternoon that you all heard the loud bang, wasn't it?
Maybe the notice board fell over, or maybe it didn't. Maybe I fell over, or maybe I didn't. But the Reaper's fate is sealed either way because of that gunshot we all heard. So your fate's sealed too. My fate?
That's right. The defense is fated to lose, and the prosecution to win. In other words, it all hinges on that single gunshot. So if I could just find some problem with that part of their story...
It may be possible to change all our fates. Of course, none of that changes the fact that I heard what I heard, does it?
Not much to go on.
As you've pointed out, Mr. Naruhodo, there's no question that the notice board was moved, so somebody must have done it.
But it did happen after the event, so maybe Kazuma is right and it's not relevant to the case.
But it seems to have been deliberately positioned so as to hide the body from view. So I feel sure that there's some deeper significance to all of this.
Yes, I know what you mean.
I've no doubt there are more clues to be uncovered. You're on the right track, I can feel it. So follow your instincts.
Alright then. Alright, so I need to show evidence here somewhere. I already pressed these first two statements in the previous video. You just wiped your hand on it, that's all. You did sneak along behind gossip and have a little peek into the room where it all happened, sure. I don't know anything about anything, I'm just a bystander me, just a sign at the crossroads of life. It was that Reaper, I bet. He's got a face that screams bored. I can't see how this changes anything anyway. The detective still died when we heard the gunshot. Yeah, this sentence, it just screams contradiction. Because, this is like the one statement in this whole cross-examination here that is trying to posit a definitive fact, but I think it's wrong. The detective still died when we heard the gunshot. I think he didn't, because there's no way he would have let his precious pocket watch, atrophy? Languish? There's a word for this, but...
Objection!
Oh, thank goodness. I'm afraid that's not necessarily the case.
Oh.
At the scene, we found this key to the winder of the inspector's pocket watch. A key. And having wound the pocket watch, we discovered that it in fact still works. You see, the watch didn't stop because it was broken at all. And that fact completely undermines one of the most fundamental premises on which this entire case has been built. What? Got him there. Order! 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 But counsel, the watch was stopped at almost exactly 5 o'clock.
Yeah, which is just when we heard the gunshot. It is exactly the hour.
The time that was showing on the watch tells us nothing other than when it wound down. It's merely a coincidence that it happened to be at 5 o'clock.
Objection!
Even if that's true, the 3 witnesses here all heard the gunshot at 5 o'clock. So that's obviously when the crime was committed.
Objection!
No, that doesn't hold. Why not? Recall what Inspector Lestrade said only moments ago.
The boss used to wind it up every evening without fail when he was waiting for his grub to come at the pub. Said he hadn't missed a day in the last 10 years, polishing it and winding it. It meant the world to him, that watch did.
The victim was in the habit of winding his watch once a day, in the evening. We can reasonably assume, therefore, that he wound the timepiece on the evening before he died as well. Yes, that would be entirely reasonable.
But if that's the case, you wouldn't expect the watch to have completely wound down by 5 o'clock the following day. Oh, aye. Well, how do you explain it? In summary, the evening before the day of the incident, when the gunshot rang out in that room, the inspector was already unable to wind his watch. You can't mean... What would stop a man winding his watch if he's been in the habit of winding it every single evening for 10 years? The obvious answer is that he was already dead.
Order! Order! Counsel, that is a most extraordinary claim.
Objection!
Extraordinary isn't the word, it's absurd. You claim he was already dead the night before? Do you really think that Scotland Yard's coroner would have overlooked something like that? Yes. Yes, I actually do. On that subject, there is something rather surprising. There's actually an omission in the coroner's report. Thank you, Susato. The time of death is not noted. That's right. Wait a minute. You're forgetting that my legs went from under me when I kicked the door in. What do you mean? Like I said, I planted my hand in a dirty great puddle of blood. Oh. That's right. The blood wouldn't be dried. What the hell? Yes, so the victim's blood hadn't dried. It was fresh. It catches on fast, doesn't he?
Objection!
But that blood could be explained in any number of ways. It could have been put there afterwards. Some fresh blood could have been poured over the... Does my learned friend... No, not you two! Come on! No! Why would you say that? Fine. Does my learned friend think the fresh blood is available on every street corner? Just go to the butcher's. They sell blood, right? Blood sausage? Well, it needn't necessarily have been human blood, of course. We've been told previously that Scotland Yard has no way to identify blood as human.
The problem is currently being researched. At present, you are correct. It is beyond our abilities.
So then, a chicken's blood could have been used, for example. It's certainly a possibility that it wasn't the inspector's blood at all.
Objection!
But the gunshot was heard at 5 o'clock that afternoon. That's beyond question. Is it, though? What? Given that the time of death of the victim has already been called into question, it isn't beyond the realms of possibility that what these witnesses heard wasn't a gunshot at all. Oh, please, what are you trying to say? As Lot know what we heard, and it was a loud bang that came from that there room. Oh, he still has his horsewhip. Nice. Now you listen to me. A street seller's ears are his livelihood. I don't doubt your ears, sir, but all you can state with certainty is that you heard a noise. Eh?
Explain yourself then, counsel.
A noise that sounds like a gunshot could have been made with... Venus's firecrackers. I'm not saying it's her that did it, but she does not really have any, scruples about who she sells her wares to. Is that the right word? Scruples? It's a fun word. Scruples. I don't say it often enough.
Take that!
Something like this. The culprit could have set off one of these to fake a gunshot.
Good gracious! The very fireworks that are sold by the witness.
Now hold on a minute. Are you saying I did it? My pretty little firecrackers only make a little pop anyways, see?
Not 100 of them together. The Venus special that you sell for 600 pennies sounds like this. As the court can now attest, it sounds very much like a gunshot, in fact. You're trying to suggest that somebody set one of those fireworks off at the scene. I'm suggesting that somebody knew the defendant was in the room at 5 that day, and sought to implicate him by creating a sound like a gunshot for these peddlers on Fresno Street to hear.
Objection!
But even the accused himself has testified that he saw no one else in the room at the time. Whether it was a gun or a firecracker, the only person present to cause that bang was Barak von Zeeks.
One whiff of a match and my firecrackers go pop. See? It's why people like them.
I fear for your fingers, young lady.
Objection!
Recently, during my time here in Britain, I've learned of a very useful invention indeed. Something called a time bomb. Good heavens! A bomb? Yes, a device that allows you to blow up whatever you like, whenever you like.
Mr. Naruhodo, I worry that your unfortunate phrasing there may lead to yet another international incident.
No, wait. It's the whenever you like part that's important. A timed device. Yes, exactly, a timed device. Something of that nature could have been planted at the scene. A device that was able to produce the sound of a gunshot long after the culprit had left. But, I don't know. Surely the residue would be found? A scorch mark on the floor or wall or anything like that? Something. Your extravagant claim will have to be substantiated with evidence, counsel. What proof do you have to suggest in any way that a time device was employed to create the gunshot sound? No way. Oh, that's genius! That is actually genius! Oh, wow! You encase the explosive in wax and it melts slowly like a candle. And when the flame inevitably boils down and reaches the oh, wow! That is such a great idea! Whoever did the killing here is so cool and impressive and smart. Good for them. Oh, but okay, we're sure it's that, right? Yeah, it has to be. Ah, blown off. I knew it looked so weird, the scorching on it. It's what I said, when it leaves scorching residue, and yeah, look at it. It's all charred black. I would not expect that from a gun bullet. Oh my god, that is cool.
Take that!
As the court has already discussed, the tip of one of the candles in this candelabrum has been blown off. Indeed, because it was struck by the bullet, which presumably passed through the victim. I don't think that's possible, my lord. Not possible. Why? Because of the scorching. There are gunpowder scorch marks clearly visible in the broken candle. There are? Goodness, yes, but is it not the case that there was also scorching on the victim around the bullet entry wound? That's right, there was. But as we heard earlier, scorching like that only occurs when the target is at very close range, a matter of centimeters from the gun. Oh. Which means that the scorching on the candle can't possibly be the result of a gunshot. You're suggesting it came from the fireworks. How can that be, eh? The fact that there's such visible scorching on the candle suggests that the fireworks must have been right next to it when they exploded. Or to put it another way, the candle and firecrackers were joined together. The culprit somehow attached the firecrackers at a point partway down the candle. After the killer had left the scene, the candle slowly burnt down along with the other two, until eventually it ignited the fuse of the firecrackers, generating a loud... Okay, but as cool as this is, I still wonder, where, the scraps of red paper went afterwards? And all over the floor? Okay, look, I'll look past that little detail, because this is cool. And that is how these three witnesses came to believe they'd heard a gunshot at 5 o'clock.
Well, what a plot. And this implies that the victim could have died earlier than we'd been led to believe. The previous day, even.
Now, just hold your horses. Our Leslot here saw the victim going into the building, remember?
Oh.
I couldn't forget that flame-colored hair even if I wanted to. The person you saw entering the building wasn't the victim at all. Consider this. Obviously, anybody can wear a wig. So the person that these witnesses saw entering the building 15 minutes before the incident occurred could easily have been someone else entirely wearing the red hairpiece.
Someone else? Do you mean to say...
It was the same person who contrived the firecracker trick. In other words, Inspector Gregson's killer.
Piffed?
Uh-oh. He loves it. Or he's mocking it, I can't tell. Oh, very impressive, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Okay, use the full name, it's mocking. Kazuma? I'm really quite amazed you've come this far. No, it's approval? But after all, wasn't I the one who told you that you had all the makings of a great defense lawyer? I also noted the lack of a time of death in this report, a stark omission. But as far as I'm concerned, this whole country's justice system leaves a lot to be desired. Ooh.
Order! 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 Prosecutor Asogi, what on earth do you mean by that statement?
I hear that many of the leading members of Britain's judiciary are present to observe this trial today, so we cannot allow even the slightest doubt to be overlooked. The defense's assertion about the time of death based on the victim's stopwatch is just conjecture. But, while the possibility exists that my learned friend may be correct, we have a duty to explore it.
Well, certainly, I would agree with you.
And what immediately comes to mind is, of course, what was Inspector Gregson doing, and where did he go on the day before the incident? Do you know? The inspector always carried out his investigative work alone. His movements were treated as confidential within Scotland Yard.
Even within the yard?
However, considering the evidence we've been presented with so far, I'd say it's fairly apparent that what case the man was pursuing. Wouldn't you, my learned friend? I do have a feeling about what case he might have been investigating. Yes, I agree, surely. My lord, the defense believes it can explain to the court the case that was being investigated by Inspector Gregson at the time of his death.
Very well, counsel. Present your argument to the court. What evidence is suggestive of the case being investigated by the inspector on the day prior to the incident?
The Red-Headed League, right? But... oh, wait. Would it be? I mean, the description says the Red-Headed League is suspicious, but... huh... You know, Mrs. Vigil's photo was found at the scene of the crime. I want to say that's the connection, not to the red-headed case, but to the missing Daily Vigil. And Daily is connected to the redhead stuff, probably. Yeah, it's, wait, no, why would it be? The day prior to the incident, Mrs. Vigil wouldn't be alarmed at all. Her husband was known. His location was known. She had no cause to worry. And after all, wasn't Herlock Sholmes the first person she went to for help? Why would Gregson be investigating that? No. Yeah, okay, I thought about it for more than a second. So it's probably the red-headed stuff. I hope.
Take that!
I believe this red hairpiece points to the answer. We might assume it was part of a disguise used to carry out an undercover investigation.
Surely not. Such a brightly colored hairpiece would only serve to make the inspector more noticeable.
Yes, that's quite true. It would definitely have made him stand out in a crowd. Except, that is, in a crowd of gentlemen from the Red-Headed League.
The Red-Headed League?
So, you'd already worked it out.
What on earth is this all about? Is there such an extraordinary league of gentlemen?
He said it. He said the thing. I know that's a thing. I don't know what it is, but it's a thing. The Red-Headed League is currently under investigation for a grand deception.
A deception of what nature, Counsel?
They've been targeting red-headed men across all of London and tricking them out of small sums of money. 2 men were arrested for the misdemeanor only yesterday, in fact. My lord, the defense calls for those 2 men to be summoned at once.
The 2 redheads?
That's how those 2 come into this, okay. Inspector Gregson clearly infiltrated the Red-Headed League using this hairpiece. So it's very likely that he had direct contact with these criminals. And it's quite possible that such contact led to more serious events.
I concur that we cannot in good conscience leave this new avenue unexplored.
Well done, Mr. Naruhodo. Well, it's another possible line of inquiry for us at least.
The prosecution will make immediate arrangements for the charged men to appear. Bring these 2 Red-Headed League conspirators before me, Prosecutor Asogi.
At once, my lord.
Very good. We will have a 30-minute recess. Court is adjourned. I call dibs on the monkey bars.
I was more of a swing kind of person, though. Oh, there you are, Otto. What kept you, my dear fellow? Hello, Mr. Sholmes, Gina.
You sure about what you said in there? That the boss, actually died the day before? It's pretty hard to swallow. Yes, I was shocked by the revelation too, Gina.
As was I. Possibly more shocked than both of you.
It's not a competition, Mr. Sholmes. But I was more shocked than all of you put together.
This is the autopsy report in question, is it?
Yes, it's strange that there's no time of death noted. I suppose there's a simple explanation, or perhaps it was a deliberate omission? Oh dear, if it was deliberate, it puts me in mind of the last case we worked on, and Dr. Scythe.
I know. Anyway, it seems that on the day before Lord Van Zieks discovered his body, Inspector Gregson was investigating the Red-Headed League, so perhaps something happened with them.
Come to think of it, you had trouble with those League men too, didn't you, Mr. Sholmes? You were taken in by their trick.
No. Naturally, I wasn't taken in, as you put it. My sleuth-hound interest was merely piqued slightly by the rare scent of a weekly £4 income.
And that scent masked the underlying scent of deception, I suppose.
He was tricked.
The two criminals in question are the pair we saw being arrested yesterday, aren't they? In Mr. Sholmes' suite, I mean. That's right, Suze, and it was me what took 'em in. Thanks to a tip-off by a good law-abiding citizen.
Indeed, yours truly.
So it's going to be that pair in the witness stand next, is it? Does this mean I never have to see Lip Boy again? Oh, please. Something doesn't quite make sense to me, though. The day before Inspector Gregson was found, you hadn't had trouble with the Red-Headed League yet, had you? Why would the inspector have been investigating them?
Well, the likely explanation would be that Gregson's own sleuth-hound interest was piqued by the rare scent of a weekly £4 income.
Don't tar him with the same brush as you, Sholmes. Yes, well, then there's the whole issue of Inspector Gregson being investigated by Lord Van Zieks for some reason. The Reaper, the Red-Headed League, Inspector Gregson, Lord Van Zieks. And Kazuma. I feel as though we knew we'd arrive at this point somehow. Gosh, I think you're right. What's he really trying to achieve here today?
All the answers will soon be revealed. Observe the time, my dear fellow. This recess will be over very shortly.
Yes, you're right. Kazuma was determined that he should be the one to prosecute this trial, and he was determined that I should take the defense. Just what is it that he's hoping to make me see, I wonder? I get the feeling we're a long way from the end of this trial yet. Are you ready then, Miss Susato? Yes.
Well, bring it on. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session again. We will resume the closed court hearing of Barak Van Zieks, here present, who stands accused of murder. Now then, Prosecutor Asogi.
My lord.
Have you summoned the witnesses as requested?
Yes, the two members of the Red-Headed League who planned and carried out the deception. They arrived not long ago from the local prison by police carriage.
Very good. Bailiff, usher the two men into the courtroom.
I feel like that's a stereotype, but whatever.
Wait. Yeah, it was like French and Italian, weren't they? I think. These two men are currently being held by the police on suspicion of attempted extortion. You may admit your occupations, but state your names now for the court. It occurs to me, actually, I think this possibly Italian gentleman eating spaghetti is like no different from Gregson eating fish and chips. I mean, it's like if a Japanese character was eating out of a bento box, or an American character was eating out of a burger. Yeah. Anyway, I am Fabien de Rousseau. Rousseau? Rousseau. Siao. No, it's Rousseau. A descendant of the great de Rousseau family from Nice in France. Nice? And my name is Peppino. Peppino? Oh man. Peppino. Oh, what a great name. I love it. It sounds like a tiny little Pokemon. Peppino di Rossi. I'm the third son of the great Familia di Rossi, the landowners from Napoli. Is that Naples? The two men first became acquainted at a boarding school for European nobility. Those who graduate from Temsic are the future leaders of Europe. But, do you have any idea how boring it is to be born with noble blood? Allure. I make it my mission to get the better of the world by employing the little grey cells of my brain. You can stop time? That is all I am trying to do, huh? So, that's the only reason for this whole grand deception you've been carrying out? Oui, you could say that. Not bad, eh? He has the grand ideas, but the petty plans. This strange combination is of the charm of the Hairlarious brothers. I'm sorry, did he... Was that spinning jump with the fist in there, was that... I'm sorry, was that Super Mario? Like, I know we had the Skulkin brothers and everything. Those were the Super Curio brothers, but... I swear, I've seen... Oh, man. See, Capo? Listen to me, Peppino. I have two things to say to you. Eh? Chi, are you about to tell me one of your grandy anecdotes? Viva! Firstly, I want you to stop calling me this capo. And secondly, we are not the Hairlarious brothers. This is serious business. Badum-tish. Chibello, there it is! The capo's trump card, the furrowed brow. It is deep, huh, Capo? The furrow and the meaning of your words. The court has been led to believe that under the banner of the Red-Headed League, you have conspired to swindle money from unsuspecting members of the public. Is this true? Oui, c'est cas. How even? What does that mean? Little 5 squiggle. And what exactly was the nature of this deception by which you planned to defraud? Lore, I will explain it. No, Capo, leave it to me. As you see, we both have the vivid red hair, no? At school we were teased for this without pity. The Capo here, he has many times behind the schoolhouse, crying like the Trevi fountain. Away, those dogs, one day the world will respect us redheads. Every night he would bury his head in his pillow and weep. Oh man, okay. C'est bien, Peppino. Enough, I will explain the rest. The first step was the newspaper advertisement. About 1 week before the plan was put into operation, we listed the same notice in every paper in London. Yes, we saw that notice. It was this one, I believe, entitled To the Red-Headed League. Oui, Sestka. Oh, he's going to say that a lot, isn't he? I should look up how to pronounce that. I am honored that you have seen it. It states that the only condition for joining the league is having flame-colored hair, and that if you satisfy the interview panel and are admitted into the league, you could receive a weekly income of £4. On the date specified, red-headed hopefuls gathered in droves at a park specified in the advertisement. And from each person present, this pair took an application fee of 5 shillings. And with the money to France. It was a plan most elegant, no? No, it was most dishonorable. But to be frank, I'm stunned anybody was foolish enough to be taken in by such an obvious trick. Sholmes, did you hear that? The park was described by one witness as choked with red-headed folk like a coaster's orange barrel. Coster's orange barrel? What? And the day on which all these men gathered to apply was the day before the victim was discovered. Crucially, these two men spoke face to face with every single person present that day. Oui, I have seen more red-headed people in one day than I will see in the rest of my life. See, and now, every time I see the capo's hair, I feel sick to my stomach. Anyway, why have we been summoned here today? Sorry? The date for our trial was not until tomorrow, I was told. Naturally, neither of these men have been told any details about this trial. They've only been shown this photograph. Very good. So, Mr. de Rousseau and Mr. de Rossi, you will give your formal testimony for the court on the subject of the gentleman pictured in this photograph. Of course. We are always ready to help with the law. We had more than 1,000 red-headed people assemble in the park on Lime Street that day. But I don't recall the man in this photograph. I, Capo? None, I don't remember him. Obviously he is dead now, but I assure you he was not in the park. Allora, this victim has nothing to do with us. You have a lot to answer for, Peppino. It is your fault that we got caught in the first place. You've given sworn testimony that this man in the photograph was not present. Can you be certain? Oui, I am quite certain. We did not interview this man. Nobody looking like this came to the park. This I can promise. It must be noted that you have been arrested for a grand deception, however. Accordingly, this court has little confidence in your assurances. Uffa, with this attitude we get nowhere, huh? He's really sulking now. This confidential document was obtained directly from Scotland Yard. It records an entry from the inspector's private diary dated the day before the incident. It reads, Lime Street, Red-Headed League, undercover. Ah, I have the answer. Maybe there was another similar event in the park on the day in question, eh? That is ridiculous. There's no question that Inspector Gregson was investigating the Red-Headed League, which means it's quite possible that's when he was killed. Very well, the defense may now proceed with the cross-examination. Yes, my lord. This felt like a shorter one. Oh, 5. I don't know if we have time for this. Screw it. My channel, my rules. I'm taking 10 minutes off. It's never been a hard rule anyway. I always wiggle around it, and I'm sure over my history of Let's Playing Ace Attorney, I am working on a massive surplus. Like, Lord knows I have more than a handful of 2-hour-long Ace Attorney videos. Anyway, yeah, I like these two. They're very fun. And neither of them, crucially, are disgusting or unpleasant to look at. Or the devil's own spawn. Oh, the lip. The way he would flick it, that's what got me the worst. Right, so... I know that the vigils are going to play a big role in this somehow, but... how? Maybe we'll get to that in the investigation phase? It'll all come together? Well... if I have my finger on the pulse of this game well enough, we should learn something from these two gentlemen that will necessitate another day of investigation. Clearly they must know something, even if they don't realize it. Something really important. Like, case-alteringly important. Only time will tell. You know, I have a stupid, silly thought. DeRossi, he entered this court spouting a lot of truths without any filters, talking about how Rousseau would cry a lot as a kid. If he has no filter, maybe we can exploit that somehow. I'm guessing we'll have a lot of, moments where we have to slide over while pressing and see what Rossi is thinking. Anyway, I need to brush up on my French. What is that C with a little squiggle below it that looks like a 5? What is that? What is that, I wonder? And what does Cest Ka even mean? These are the kind of mysteries that will keep me up tonight. Unless I look them up, which I will. Anyway, I'm Zephyr the Jester. This has been more of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Thank you for watching. Hopefully I'll catch you next time. So until then, please take care. And happy anniversary!